This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy! Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 F-O-R, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Welcome to 90 for Chill, the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. This is your host, Cat Bus Russ. And this week, I am doing my best to thoroughly prepare for Twin City Con in Minneapolis, starting on November 8th, Friday, ending on Sunday the 10th. And I will be hosting 90 for Chill, the podcast from the event on Saturday, November 7th at 3:30 p.m. And I'm still looking for a guest, so if you want to jump on that roll, if you happen to be in the Twin Cities, let me know. You can do so by contacting me on Blue Sky at catbusruss.bsky.social. I'm also on Instagram at catbusruss, same thing with Threads. And more importantly, you can always email me, russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. What I plan to do is discuss a couple of crazy flicks with my big sister, the poetic critic. And if you want to be on the show, I suggest bringing one as well. And then we'll throw it to the audience. So that's the game plan right now. Fortunately, with all the preparation, this is a Rewind Wednesday episode. And I'm just going to finally make sure that this podcast feed has all of Stuart Gordon's reviews that I've done. So we'll get through, I believe it'll just be Castle Freak, Dagon, and Robot Jocks. And just to make sure it's done for, I will do a review for the awful Eternal Damnation. It doesn't even have a suitable trailer, but if you go and watch that trailer on YouTube, that will pretty much tell you not to check that feature out. But it's not fair that it's not fair to it because I did give this 70-minute feature the time, so I'll further try to warn you. I mean, who knows? That trailer being so awful might intrigue you. Don't be. Otherwise, all I really got to say is if you want to help the podcast out, support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. For $3 a month, you'll get a sticker. You'll get a shout out on every episode of the show, like Tim Bates, friend of the show, and former AAW interviewer, The Scoop Staley. I wonder who that guy is. And I will do my best to make sure you get whatever merchandise I come up with, like the Minnesota-themed buttons for I Dig Crazy Flicks. We'll get that out to you. I don't think I have anything else to do except thank you. I should say thanks to Station Marie Harden for keeping me motivated. And hope she does the same for everybody else she touched in her life. And I hope she's snuggling the ever ectoplasmic entity that is Skimbleshanks, the one-eared angel.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Did Michael Corleone do rehearsals for any of his church or operatic assassinations? Just curious.
90 for Chill, the podcast, proudly presents to you Ali's Accessories Shop on Etsy's Trash Feature Review.
So I just concluded watching Eternal Damnation. I don't know why it took me long, or this long, to realize that Tommy Wiseau has better story structure than a lot of these hack films. This is from Brain Damage Picture, so I thought that may have had some potential. I used to watch the old Drunken Zombie double features, and they typically hit pretty good. This film is about Satan trying to get back to heaven, using a lot of biblical terms to seem smart. You really don't know what's going on until a half hour into the flick. And it's really just hack crap up until that point, which never really just considers how silly it is, especially when you have CGI effects for broken glass, all the blood. It's just very ill-conceived idea, I guess. If you're not going to be able to deliver on good effects, then the entire point of a cheap movie like this, which takes itself way too seriously, is lost. This is definitely, as I say, if we could have tried establishing everything a little earlier in the film, maybe it could have been a little more tolerable, but the acting is awful, the effects are wretched. It was just, if it had a script, maybe something could have been done with it. But otherwise, Eternal Damnation was an ill-timed film, making me wonder if this film can be produced. Why can't I get the people to believe in me to produce my own?
Hello there.
Pardon me for getting ahead of myself. Obviously, the most important way to support 90 for Chill the podcast with Cat Bus Russ is to rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps, follow us on Spotify, and just spread the word around. Again, thanks for checking out the podcast, and of course, if you want to be a guest on the show, just offer me a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. Try to focus on sub 100-minute movies, but I can make anything work if you're willing to put in a little extra work yourself.
It's a new age of combat.
Human beings, genetically engineered to be the best fighters in history.
Two champions
It isn't over until someone wins.
at war with each other.
Kill it! I have already killed you.
Two invincible men.
Let's finish it, Alexander, here and now.
The ultimate killing machines.
I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your...
The battle's over.
Not for me.
Robot jocks.
So there are a lot of good things that at least Comcast, Xfinity, cable still provides you, and happens to be Screen Picks right now. It is MGM with all the movies they purchased, basically Canon, Orion, and whatever they didn't sell to Turner back in the early 90s. And this provides us with films also from the Dino De Laurentiis lineup, and I'm talking about Robot Jocks. Every podcast of mine, mandatory Stuart Gordon moment. It is basically, I think, the first time we get giant mecha in American screens, so ahead of its time, at least on Pacific Rim. And I like the practical effects. It's still stop motion stuff, but, you know, after Michael Bay put too much shine on the Transformers, I really appreciate the old look. Now, it suffers from not putting Jeffrey Combs in a real role. I mean, yeah, it's nice and predictable to have a Japanese scientist lead the good guys team, but come on, just a bit part for Reanimators, Star, From Beyond's Star. Castle Freak's star. It just seemed just a bone to an old friend. There are a lot of things that really don't hold up. I mean, the Cold War element being thinly veiled, the sexual harassment, classic late 80s stuff. But it's got a good soundtrack. As I say, I appreciated the special effects. And basically, if you like RoboCop 2, and there's plenty to like about RoboCop 2, I think this at least gives you the better special effects display. Now, hopefully I can get my cat off my keyboard and get this review added on to 90 for Chill, the podcast. Thanks for checking it out.
Stuart Gordon, the director of Fortress, The Pit and the Pendulum, and Reanimator, takes you into the dungeons of Castle Dorsino. Now, an American family
Welcome to Castle Riley, lady.
will inherit a legacy of evil.
They say the castle is haunted.
And a master of modern horror will unleash his most terrifying creation. Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak.
There's somebody else here! There's somebody in the castle!
We want you to search the castle. Giorgio Dorsino. He was never buried. She kept him alive. He's here somewhere in the castle. There was a madman in there. My family is in danger.
Reanimators Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton in Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak.
So I just completed watching Stuart Gordon's Castle Freak from 1995, produced by Full Moon Pictures and Charles Band of Arena fame, Puppet Masters, a lot of stuff. It's a pretty solid horror movie. I love the Italian influences upon it. It just has the kind of the suspense of a giallo, despite this really a monster movie. Definitely the trauma of a giallo film. I love Argento. It kind of walks that line pretty well between Argento and Fulci. So Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci, if you need first names. So, I don't agree with all the cat abuse in Gordon's films. I mean, he got 3 more years than Bowie, and maybe that's all he deserved. Don't mess with the kitties. Now, this film stars his constant stalwarts, I should say, Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. And Barbara Crampton seems to evolve with each film, from Reanimator to From Beyond, and now Castle Freak. And Jeffrey Combs is Jeffrey Combs. It takes a half hour. It takes 45 minutes for him to become full-blown Jeffrey Combs, which is great for the film. But if you're a fan of Stuart Gordon, you kind of want him to just go off the rails with him pretty fast. So it has an interesting antagonist, the Castle Freak, who's a pretty compassionate character. You can really kind of relate. I mean, you understand his motivations, but then again, he goes and kills a cat. So that compassion goes out the window. So, looking over my notes real quick, I said it builds up the suspense like a good Met Giallo. Autocorrect says goalie. But, it's a fun little flick. I really would love to see it redone in a 16:9 instead of a 4:3. This is a direct-to-video. Again, Full Moon Pictures, pretty cheap crap, in the most affectionate way. And I know it was remade in 2020, so I'll probably investigate that at some point. But All I'm going to say is if you do not have some nipple mutilation in that feature, maybe you missed the mark.
Do you hear that?
It's coming from that village. Probably some sort of religious festival.
Hey, that thing's coming right at us.
There's something in the water.
We're gonna have to take the raft into that town for help. Where the hell is everybody? Hello? We need help. What the hell's going on here? Who are you?
I've been waiting for you. Stay with me, please. Don't let them take me. We will go soon to a beautiful place forever.
You wanna tell me why this is happening?
Dagon needs her.
You're a bunch of freaks! I'll kill you all!
It's been a few hours, but I watched Dagon so that 90forchill.com can have its weekly Stuart Gordon fix. This film has to be the most Lovecraftian project I've ever seen. Now, Reanimator and From Beyond are Lovecraft adaptations by Stuart Gordon, but again, those are simple stories, really, that don't really go beyond the initial premise. Dr. West creates a serum, the dimensional machine acts up and decapitates the inventor right off the bat and From Beyond. It's kind of very cool to see a film that is Lovecraft through and through. Like, this is something that was totally fleshed out with keeping Lovecraft in mind, not just being expanding upon a short story. It feels like it's a long novel. Perhaps I should read some Lovecraft. Perhaps I want to avoid those problems. The CGI effects in this film about a society that swore their fate to the sea god Dagon to ensure gold and plentiful fish has now become a society that's going to have to go into the water, and they need sacrifices to keep Dagon happy. So our new millionaire, Paul, and his significant other, Barbara, are on a boat off the Spanish coast where they run ashore and eventually all end up captured. And Barbara's fate, that she'll be the mother to Dagon's latest offspring, while Paul has to deal with the fact he's obsessed with this tentacled mermaid that keeps showing up in his dreams. As I said, the CG's a little off, but used sparingly enough that it still catches you off the guard. The best body horror Cronenberg type thing, I would say, would be the actual flaying of some man's face. I thought that looked pretty cool. The acting is solid. It's fun that they pretty much don't subtitle the Spanish in this film. It's definitely worth your time and gives you a new look on what Ariel should be.
Can I hear a wahoo?